you should be able to camp in a camper top, right? This is my truck. I call it the Silver Bullet. Silver because it's silver, bullet because it has a misfire, and it vibrates a little. It's a 2012 Nissan Frontier with some letters at the end that tell you that it is a four-wheel drive. And I'll be honest with you, it's looking a little rough. And it has been looking a little rough since I bought it. But that's okay, because I didn't buy a truck to look nice. I bought a truck to do truck stuff, namely pulling heavy things and getting me to places that I couldn't originally get to, specifically over rough terrain. And that's important because I have a camping trip coming up where I will need to get over some rough terrain after work on Saturday, meaning that it will be dark by the time that I get to camp. And I'd really love it if I didn't have to set up a tent when I got there and had a place to sleep already ready for me in the back of my truck. But the truck bed is 5 feet long and I am 6 feet long. So the only way I can fit to sleep would be diagonally from corner to corner. And the problem is that the wheel wells here get in the way. So I need to build some sort of a setup that gets me over the wheel wells so that I can sleep and have storage underneath. And I'm gonna be using this track system with these mounting points. I made 6 of them previously as tie-down points, but I think I'm gonna need at least 8. So I need to make some more. And those mounting points are made of these 3 components. Just an eye bolt, which I'll remove this nut from, a pretty sturdy square washer, and a spring nut. And the spring goes inside the channel and presses against the inside of that track. And then the eye bolt tightens down against the washer, holding everything secure in place. And with that, the rest of them. And installed. So the idea is to have some sort of a platform made out of plywood that will sit on these mounting points to be supported on the sides. And to support it from underneath, I also have these rails on the bed of the truck, the floor of the bed rather. And my idea there is to just have 2x4s that will support from the top of this rail to the underside of the plywood. And I think I'm going to try to make it interface with this slot in some way just for stability. I went ahead and picked up a couple of OSB sheets from Home Depot and got them cut to 58 inches at the panel saw. 1, so that they could fit into the bed of my truck, but 2, because that's also the measurement from eye bolt to eye bolt. So really the only cut I need to make is half the length of the truck bed so that the sleeping platform can be 2 halves. So you can see that I've clamped both sheets together and I'm making 1 cut at the same time because there's a fine line between lazy and efficient, and I'm constantly trying to ride that line. Can't say I recommend it, but it worked out all right this time. And here I am cutting those support 2x4s and then also the rail that I'm going to attach afterwards. I did some preliminary tests by cutting a notch into the 2x4 to take away the material to create that rail. And I found that it was much easier to just make 1 rail and then cut it into sections and attach it to the ends of the 2x4s afterwards. So you'll see me doing that in a second. notice that I cut off the front corner of the sleeping platform. And I did that after laying on the platform and realizing that that corner would be completely wasted space. I do want to keep the back corner intact so that I have a place to put things that I might need as I'm sleeping, like an external battery pack and a fan that I can point at my face, maybe a drink, my glasses, things like that. And the cutout actually gives me a place to sit fully upright in the back of the truck, which is super handy because the sleeping platform does not afford a lot of headspace. And it serves as a really good entry point where I can climb into it, sit there, pull the tailgate up, close the back window, and then crawl into the bed. Now I just need to add some carpet for comfort and aesthetics.
That piece went here. Here. That one went here. Hi, I'm over here. Now I get to crawl inside and awkwardly maneuver myself to staple these edges into place. I'm not going to staple the main carpet because I do want to be able to remove it so that I can take the legs off via the screws. So that one can just stay on top, but I do want the edges to stay in place. Here we go. And of course I got to remember to cut through that strip that is now connecting the two boards, because I do want to be able to get these apart. Awesome. And I did think ahead and put extra staples in each side just to make sure that those edges are held down really nicely. Switching to the battery powered brad nailer because the stapler stopped working. And the brad nail should be sufficient for this trim piece because it won't get any force applied to it. You know what, we'll start the other one partially in. None of them came through the bottom.
So the quote-unquote mattress is actually going to be this cushion from a patio lounge chair that I got from Home Depot. And I really don't like this red color, but it was on clearance, so it's gonna be good enough. And I'm just starting by removing these tie-down straps because I'm not gonna be using them and I think they'll just get in the way. And then the main goal for the mattress pad is to cut the corners off of the top end so that it fits better into the corner of the truck bed. To figure out exactly where I needed to cut, I did the super scientific process of putting the pad on the sleeping platform and laying on it and just seeing where the overlap was, where the corners bunched up, and I just drew some rough lines telling me where I need to cut.
So I'm thinking I'll just come in here, cut around the perimeter. Then cut off this part. And then I'll clean this up. Tuck it in. And then sew this edge back. And I'll do that here and possibly down there. I'll have to put it back in and see if it compresses enough for me to not have to do that, but we'll see. Okay, so that got out of hand pretty quick, but it's okay. Happy accident, because I do want to take this opportunity to add this memory foam on the inside. It was always the idea that this would just go on top afterwards, but as you can see, it's quite a bit thinner than this, and I don't think I'll need any at the leg section. So what I'm planning on doing is cutting off this bottom edge, recutting it to fit the whole width of the sleeping pad, and then sewing that all in together so that this top 2/3 section will have the really comfy memory foam, and then my feet will just be supported by this bottom section just fine. So we're going to do that instead.
Butterfly.
Of course it wasn't going to fit. We all knew that. That's why I picked up a 4-foot section of zipper and some more outdoor fabric, and I'm going to cut and paste and cobble something together. It's not going to look good, but it'll work. it pretty? No. But is it functional? I don't see why not. Most importantly, it is comfortable. Okay, the next step is replacing these T-handles with these T-handles, because I don't have the key for these, and I do have the key for these. Pretty easy. All I need to do is undo this lever arm so that I can unscrew the T-handle from the back window and take it out. Good. The next order of business is that I am taking this torch and heating up the tip of this bolt just enough to melt through some of this black webbing to add these holes. And the idea behind that is that I can remove these screws. Oops. Replace them with a washer on top. And do the same thing here. So here's what it looks like when it is just laying flat, but if I move it to the side, you can see that I have the bottom going through both straps, and the top is only going through this top strap. Because I'm hoping that'll provide me with more leverage, because the idea is it's pretty difficult to lift the tailgate when you're in the bed of the truck, but with this handle I can pull it up pretty easily, and when I'm inside I can use it as a way to lower the tailgate slowly without it slamming down. Again, pretty difficult while you're in the bed of the truck. Excuse the weird camera angle and the echo you're probably hearing right now. I am inside the truck bed camper setup, and I have the window closed because I want to demonstrate this locking mechanism I came up with. So you can turn this lever arm from the inside and stop the window from opening, but as you can see, the T-handle, anyone can turn it from the outside, and I can't access the tumbler to actually lock it from the inside. So what I've come up with is this combination of carabiners, chains, and a turnbuckle, with the idea being that I link one end of the carabiner onto this lever arm, lock it into place, and then the other end comes down here to this really convenient bolt hole that's already in the truck bed. And I have just, I think it's a leftover lawnmower bolt that I have in there, linking those two together. And then the turnbuckle I can tighten which pulls tension down on this lever arm, and now even if you were to turn the T-handle from the outside, it does not come up. So all it would take for me to get out, and if I need to in like an emergency situation, is just to unturn this a couple of notches and this slides off of this bolt. I just need enough tension on there to where jostling this handle from the outside won't release this carabiner from this bolt down here. And that seems to work pretty well. Next order of business are the window screens, which you can see are full of holes. So I did rip these out and purchase some more screen material. And I've gone ahead and cut out some pieces that are larger than the actual screens. So the idea is just to fit these in place, pressure fit them in the window frames, and then cut off the excess. And just like that, one brand new bug screen. So these shades I just have press fit into the frame of the window, just held in by tension. But I can't do that for these because the new screens are in the way. So I cut these oversized to fit completely over the window frame, with the idea that I would use these mounting screws to interface with magnets that would be on the screen here. But it turns out that the magnets don't stick very well to the screws, and they're the only magnetic point on these frames. I think the rest of them are made out of aluminum. But I do think magnets are still the way to go, and they do stick a little, but not as well as I'd like. Fortunately, they stick really well to themselves. So the new plan is to permanently fix the magnets to the heads of the screws, and then also fix magnets to the screen, and then magnet to magnet, it should stick really well and be super secure. And the way that I'm doing that is by taking a thick super glue and filling in the head of that screw, and then on the magnet I'm just spraying the back in an activator spray and putting that on. And the activator spray causes the super glue to set immediately, and now it's a magnet. And for the other end of the magnets, I have attached a free floating magnet on top of the permanent one on each of these spots, and I've painted the backs of them with contact cement. Similarly, I have put contact cement all around the perimeter of this shade, letting that dry. And I have one more just to apply some contact cement to. So when this gets tacky, I will press the contact cement of the shade against the magnets. It should connect the magnets to the contact cement on the perimeter of the shade. The excess is no big deal, it'll just harden and dry. No problem there, but the magnets should be affixed perfectly in position, and then it should go right back into place when we take it off. Okay, everything is nice and tacky, so I am going to go ahead and press it on. Crawl inside. And as long as I have adequate contact cement around the perimeter of this thing, it should be catching on all of these magnets. And it's sticking, so looks to be working pretty well. Alright, we'll give that a minute and then take it off again. So here's one side in place, both the magnetic screen and the one that's pressure fit in. And then on this side, moment of truth. Perfect. I made one for the back too. And that's about all I had planned for the actual camper top build of the truck. I do have some more upgrades that I want to do to the truck just for some quality of life conveniences, but this is what the camper build looks like. You can see that I can fit 3 of those 17-gallon totes back here, which is great, a lot of storage there, but I think I'll probably only ever use 2, because again, I want this space in the front where this corner cutout is to be a place where I can sit upright if I ever need to. but still, there's plenty of space here and I could pack it full if I needed to. On the left here, you can see I have a Mr. Buddy heater. I have a 20-pound propane tank, space for probably 3 to 5 gallons of water. There's even a 4-person tent back there just in case I do need an alternative place to sleep, or someone else. And then above the wheel wells, there's a ton of space where I could put extra things, camp chairs, more water, more supplies, cooking gear, anything like that. And then on the top, you can see that I have a fan here. I do need to get an external battery, but other than that, and a place to sleep, that's about all I need up here. Sunshades are looking great. It'll be nice and private and should suit me just fine. And here's my point of view from laying on the sleeping pad. Pretty comfortable, plenty of headspace, enough to turn around anyway. I did end up getting a power pack that came with 2 solar panels, and all I have to do is take this shade down and open the window, and I can feed the wire up the window and attach to the solar panels. And it actually charges pretty well. I can have this fan, which does have a backup battery, but I can have it connected via the power cord to the power pack and running on high, and even on a really overcast day, it was charging the battery faster than the fan was draining it. So that's going to be really nice. I should be able to charge all of my devices for a weekend and even offer this to my friends to charge their devices too. 3D printed a cup holder, very important. Diet Dr. Pepper, of course. And I have this clear vinyl tubing that I have routed to a hole in the truck bed. And that's going to be nice just in case I need to evacuate any excess fluids that have accumulated while I was sleeping. And with that, the truck camper build is done. Thanks for joining me on that one. There will be some more truck mods to come, just some quality of life improvements, some modern conveniences that I'm still missing, but that will be a later video. So if you have any interest in seeing any of that or any of the other projects that I have on the big list of projects, subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment if you have any suggestions for what you want to see next or things that I haven't considered that you might want me to build. But with that, I do think we can go ahead and mark this one complete, and I'll see you in the next one.